What's going on, everybody? This is DK Dynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the new gameplay for Modern Warfare 2, some major updates on all game modes, the Steam version, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and make sure you have notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Cold War Year 2, Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, and any other future Call of Duty as well. Now, real quickly, it was confirmed that Infinity Ward has created a TikTok account in which the first video they posted has to do with how the Ghost Mask was created for Modern Warfare 2019. I'm wondering if they're going to start dropping some exclusive teasers on TikTok specifically, but if they do, I'll have their TikTok account linked in this video's description. And as I pointed out on the podcast earlier today, I have started to post a couple of YouTube shorts here and there just to try them out. I've never really done them before, and I'll make them whenever there's like not much going on and I want to cover one topic in about 45 seconds. And I also re-upload them on my TikTok profile, which is linked in my description and even in my link tree. But obviously this past week was absolutely hectic when it comes to marketing for Modern Warfare 2 and even other Call of Duties. I covered all that here on my channel, of course, but if you want a precise breakdown of everything that got revealed on Wednesday, which was the global reveal trailer day, and there was of course a bunch of info dumped from Charlie Intel, content creators, I broke everything down in a pretty simple video with as few timestamps as possible, breaking down everything there is to know about every game mode, new features, mechanics, the engine, and that's linked down below as well. But tonight's video is about the entire day's worth of info that we got yesterday during Summer Games Fest. Let's jump right into that. So at the Summer Games Fest stream, we did get 7 minutes of campaign gameplay from the mission known as Dark Waters, and it does give us our first glimpse of wet work here in Modern Warfare 2. What's crazy though is that the mission Crew Expendable from the original COD 4, and it was in MW Remastered of course, looks better than ever on the new engine, and that was a given, right? I mean, campaign gameplay always looks good, but it's ironic because before the stream actually started, people were asking me, what mission do you think they're going to showcase at Summer Games Fest? And right away I'm like, probably the wet work one, because it's an iconic location, will probably generate the most hype, but it might end up being the best mission in the game as well. We're just not sure yet, we haven't played the game, but we do know that content creators and the press got to see gameplay of up to 5 missions during their early access event as of last week. And I mentioned in my previous video, I'm like, wait, why would they show creators 5 missions? I mean, that's almost half the game. They didn't show them all the missions, I'm assuming, and they didn't show them every minute of each one of the 5 they did show them, but I'm just like, that's a bit much. I think 1 to 2 tops makes sense, but I guess they're really proud of this campaign, so they showed them 5. So luckily they only showed 1 mission during the recent panel, as they would usually do every single year, but they don't necessarily pick the best mission to showcase. That's just not how it works for COD. But when it comes to the gameplay itself, I mean, it's campaign. How much could I say, right? I mean, when it comes to campaign reveals, campaigns always look good, right? The gameplay's always crisp. Everything always looks fantastic. It doesn't matter what COD you're looking at. There's never really a disappointing campaign reveal. But after watching it, I didn't really feel like I regretted not going to an IMAX theater. I mean, I couldn't anyway because I wanted to stream the reaction with you guys regardless. But I didn't watch it and say, oh, well, I wonder how this would have been in IMAX, right? I felt like I missed out on a really breathtaking experience because there's nothing really crazy that happened in the mission. Now, I did ask my buddy Perka, who actually went to an IMAX theater to watch Summer Games Fest, and he said that the experience was very different from what we all watched in the live stream or on our phones or on our computers. And that's great that it was a lot better in IMAX. You would expect that, right? On that big old screen with the nice surround sound speakers. So apparently it was worth the watch, but the thing is, when we end up playing Modern Warfare 2, we're gonna be playing at home on our monitors or TVs. Most people out there won't even be playing at 60 FPS. They'll be at a frame rate much less than that. So with that in mind, it's like, okay, if it's cool to watch it in IMAX, great, but that doesn't really reflect how the game is actually going to be played on October 28th. So does it really matter if you saw it in IMAX? Not necessarily, but I'm glad that at least it was different from the experience that we all had at home. Now, after the gameplay was shown, we then got confirmation from the Call of Duty general manager that the community was correct in spotting not just High-Rise, but a glimpse of the Warzone 2.0 map within the global reveal trailer that came out on Wednesday. So that's good that at least that's confirmed. We also got plenty of really clean screenshots of the Modern Warfare 2 campaign shortly after Summer Games Fest. I know the press probably got sent them days in advance and we're allowed to post them as of yesterday evening. Now, what's also cool about the gameplay is that we get confirmation that Task Force 141 is working together with the Shadow Company here in this campaign, but maybe not for long, right? Shadow Company is probably run by General Shepard. It's being speculated that you can actually hear Shepard throughout the gameplay over your intercom, and maybe he is talking to you throughout the mission and will reveal himself to be a bad guy towards the end, or maybe it's like a bit of a cliffhanger, then the post-launch story picks up where that leaves off, and then Shepard is the villain of seasons 1 through 12, or how many seasons there are. But what's awesome is that the guy on comms who communicates with Philip Graves is actually the same person who voices Overlord from the original COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Yes, you're probably thinking of this specific actor from the Transformers movies. He has an iconic voice. He's typically in a lot of movies dealing with the military, and he's actually been in COD from time to time. So it's awesome to see him return here for Modern Warfare 2 as a bit of a callback to the original MW2 from 2009. Now, I know you guys are eager to see some multiplayer gameplay. I know I am, and I'm sure there might be some leaks and snippets thrown around the internet over the next couple of weeks. That's typically what happens every year with COD. But I honestly think if you want to judge Modern Warfare 2, or if you're eager to make a decision on whether or not to buy the game, I would certainly wait until at least the multiplayer trailer or the open beta, which is later this summer. At that point, I think it's a little bit more fair to say, okay, this is my cup of tea, or is it? Watching campaign gameplay really isn't going to do anything for you, because every campaign is great in their own way. Multiplayers are always drastically different from the campaigns anyway. There's always similarities, but obviously weapons are balanced differently, visibility, map design, all that could be terribly different in multiplayer compared to campaign, so be patient with that. But it was brought to my attention that maybe, and just maybe, during COD Champs later this summer, we might end up getting our first look at multiplayer during that event. I don't think it'll be that long, to be quite honest with you, considering how they're expediting the marketing for Modern Warfare 2 to kind of sweep Vanguard under the rug and move on ASAP. I feel like they'll reveal multiplayer much sooner than that, but last year for the Cold War COD Champs, that was, I believe, August 22nd, that's when we got our first look at Vanguard multiplayer, which obviously really boosted the watch time and the view count of COD Champs altogether. They might do that again this summer, considering Vanguard numbers are down tragically for just about everything, so they might use Modern Warfare 2 as a way to kind of boost some of those numbers. But considering creators and the press already played multiplayer, it seems like it's not too far away from an actual reveal, and I'll keep you guys posted on exactly when that's going to happen. There might even be more multiplayer information shared from COD partners in the press who might be NDA'd right now. They may have saw or learned more than we know about. They've shared quite a bit already, if not almost everything, but there could be some secrets that they're going to reveal at a later date when it comes to the multiplayer. But speaking of that, Infinity Ward then confirmed that moving crates, as you see in the campaign gameplay, is something they want to do in multiplayer, but can't guarantee the crate locations evenly match up with server lag or delay. And I really like what they're going with that, because I think something like that sounds great on paper, but then with execution, you have to take into account people's different platforms, internet speeds, latency, all these different problems, which can very, very easily ruin the experience for people to where they're lagging through crates are like stuttering and killing people by mistake. That could be a giant mess that would have to get reverted pretty quickly, so they're probably going to avoid doing that unless they incorporate that in like a ground war experience, but maybe that would be even worse. They also confirmed Destruction is not going to be returning in MW2, which is weird because Vanguard was the first game in a while where they're really emphasizing that Destruction is important throughout the multiplayer maps, throughout the other game modes, but then it really didn't translate well at all, if not at all, in Warzone Pacific. It was marketed that Warzone Pacific would then kind of carry over a lot of those new Vanguard introductions and features and Destruction, but Warzone Pacific really didn't do that, so it looks like they're scrapping that idea altogether for the new Modern Warfare. And we got confirmation that the game will indeed have a firing range, which is awesome. I absolutely love that feature back during, what was it, Advanced Warfare, World War II. Glad to see that come back, and I wonder if you're going to be able to use that to kind of test out and inspect bundles, blueprints, mastercrafts. Probably not, because Activision wants you to buy those, not test them out, and then say, oh, I actually don't like the inspection, let me not buy it. So that'll be a bit iffy. And then we also got some interesting info from the usual suspects who data mine and post early content claiming that Last Stand is apparently returning. Not sure how they got this information or where they're data mining anything from. I don't understand that, but not really excited about Last Stand. It's a pretty frustrating feature that could ruin some good streaks for no reason, so let's see if it's balanced or not by the time the beta rolls around later this summer. Now, I also want to follow up on something that I brought up in my previous Modern Warfare recap video regarding an alpha. So, we already know that Ralph's Valve and some other scoopers have claimed that there will be a gunfight alpha of sorts at some point in July or later this summer, but then Infinity Ward came out and said that gunfight's actually coming post-launch. So that's debunked, right? I'm not sure where Ralph got his info from. I don't know if he's an industry plant. Something's off about him, as I talked about in the podcast earlier today. I'm just really confused on his stance on things. It seems a bit biased, seems a bit odd, but all that aside, if there is going to be an alpha, what mode would be included with that, if there is one at all? Like I said, I think there's a strong possibility that the two multiplayer modes Charlie Intel reported on that they actually got to play, Knockout and Prisoner Rescue, one of those, if not both, could be included in a potential alpha, but if not then I'm sure we'll definitely see those at some point throughout the full-on beta towards maybe August. Knockout is a mode where it's the best of gunfight and core multiplayer, 1 life with revives, and package to secure. So that sounds more like an alpha mode to me. That sounds something that would work pretty well for just a small demo that would only last like 3 days, Friday to Sunday, exclusively on PlayStation like it was during MW 2019. Prisoner Rescue, the second mode, is a Breach and Siege style gameplay with 1 life featuring revives and 2 prisoners that rescuers must return from the defenders. So kind of like VIP, sorta, from Cold War, but obviously a bit different. Now the press also reported on some additional maps they actually got to see behind the scenes. The embargo lifted on this, I believe it was earlier yesterday. The first experience was a battle map, right? One of the bigger scaled experiences, and it was called Syed, I think that's how you call it, an intense urban combat map and a mirage of core multiplayer and ground war. It contains lots of buildings. They also saw Surif Bay, a tourist fishing village with a water playground, hillside town, 2 large boat areas, and more. So those will be used for ground war, possibly even some other game modes in the future. But then when it comes to core 6v6 maps that were shown, we saw Museum, set in Spain, takes inspiration from the Getty Museum, which is awesome. Grand Prix, a racetrack set in Asia at night with a race still going on in the background, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to see gameplay of this. And then they saw Farm 18, undisclosed training facility in an old cement factory with traditional shoot house in the map. So that sounds pretty cool. So far I'm liking the descriptions of the maps that were shown. Hopefully they play well and don't just sound good on paper. Hopefully they actually play well when the game does come around soon. Now I also want to remind you guys about the Cinder weapon blueprint as a part of the Vault edition of Modern Warfare 2. What I believe this actually is the ability to change attachments on the blueprint without changing the look of the weapon itself. This will obviously be limited to a select amount of blueprints in the game that eventually come out, but I'm glad to listen to fan feedback and actually introduce something like this. That's at least what I've interpreted from what this bonus looks like. Other people out there have felt the same. I've seen some gaming scoopers claim that that is actually the case and that is what this is. So that's fantastic, because I think it's really unfortunate when a Mastercraft or a blueprint comes with some pretty crappy attachments and you want to change them to the good ones, but then it ruins the look of the blueprint, defeating the purpose of buying this to begin with. So I think that's what they're going to be solving here in Modern Warfare 2, which I'm really hyped about. But also, speaking of weapons, we then got a bit of a recap of all the weapons that we know of so far. According to content creators, it looks like about 30 weapons are known right now. Not the final list, but as of right now, we know about the HK-33, the AK-74U, the belt-fed M4A1/AR-15, an MP5, an AK-105. We also have a semi-auto shotty, possibly a FAMAS. And I think people out there are really wanting this to be the ACR, but it might actually be the Scar L. Not the Scar H, but the Scar L. So yeah, L in the chat if you guys are a fan of the Scar. And I think people have also seen a P90 somewhere. But aside from that, we also have other members of the press claiming they got to see an IWI, an MK3, those were LMGs, an AK-105 AR, a Glock 17 pistol, an XM 2010 sniper, and an A09 SMG. Somehow it got data mined that the Fennec is also returning at some point. So again, I'm not sure how this data mining is working, but people out there are finding information left and right about the game. We also have an update on Mara, a character that got introduced during Season 1 of Modern Warfare 2019, obviously played by Alex Zedra. And I think there was some confusion that went around because she actually went ahead and mentioned something on stream and even a TikTok claiming that Mara is coming back and it's confirmed by Infinity Ward. But then the proof, as it seems, is one of those automated replies from the Call of Duty Twitter that I even got, as I'll show you on screen. I'm sure all of you guys got the same tweet where they say, with your name, Green Heart, you're on the team, so stay frosty. Be the first to secure all the pre-order incentives, including early access to the open beta. Pre-order now, reply #stop to unsubscribe. So it looks like she received that and assumed that they actually tweeted directly at her, trying to confirm that Mara was going to be a part of Task Force 141 or the squad. But it looks like she realized soon after that that wasn't going to be the case, and that she misinterpreted this tweet. So she then took down that TikTok, and I think it was the Twitch clip or something. So I'm not sure if Mara is going to come back, but what I'll say is that she was under some heavy fire for some comments she made not too long ago. But other than that, she just got a G Fuel flavor recently. So I think she's good with certain groups of people, not good with others. But it's unclear if Activision cares about any of that or not, and whether or not they're going to reintroduce her as a paid operator at some point this year. If she sold though, which I'm sure she did in 2019, they'll probably end up wanting to get a bundle with her out at some point in 2020. 2022. We then got a cool statement from Gaming Super Tom Henderson, which says, and I quote, "After the campaign, players can join with their duo for Evolved Special Ops. This tactical co-op mode advances your team building skills and sets the scene for the near endless hours of gameplay available in the world-class multiplayer." Not sure where the description actually came from. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But I guess that confirms that Spec Ops is duos only, and I'm wondering how in-depth the Spec Ops mode will be, considering it looks like the actual third mode of the game is supposed to be DMZ, but based on rumors right now, it looks like DMZ might be another Outbreak situation where it's a post-launch update. Not sure how that's going to work, but Spec Ops will be available at launch, and more information will be shared about that in the future. We got some interesting tweets which might relate to this from the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost, first saying, "Expect something cool in December," though. Not sure what that is. Could it be the launch of DMZ? Could it be something else we don't know about? But lastly is a bit of an update about the Steam version of Modern Warfare 2. It's been confirmed that COD points do not transfer from Steam over to Battle.net, right? And people will find that out the hard way when Modern Warfare 2 comes out later this fall. But aside from that, I think people out there are still a bit confused on how the editions actually work. So if you're on PC, yes, the standard edition will pop up, but it still costs $70, whereas in the past, the Cross-Gen edition typically costs $70. So you're paying $10 more for no reason. And if you're on PC, there's no such thing as a Cross-Gen edition, right? A Steam version will not work on Battle.net or vice versa. But on the other platforms, PlayStation and Xbox, the Cross-Gen edition by default is $70. There is no standard edition or a $60 version, and the Vault edition will be $100 across the board. That's American currency, by the way. Now, as I covered before, it's a bit weird that the Steam version of the Vault edition comes with less content than the Battle.net version. I'm not kidding. So it's been confirmed that you will not be getting the Legacy Ghost Pack when you buy the Vault Edition on Steam, and I know it's just reused skins from Battle Passes and other content from MW. I get that, so maybe you don't care about that, but you also do not get the XP bonuses whatsoever. So that's a bit concerning because it still costs $100 to buy on Steam, but you're getting less content from that, which is strange. And we had Lego Unlocked in chat earlier today for the podcast, and he reminded me that Activision doesn't get 100% of the earnings or the sales from Steam games, right? From any Steam game, whether it's Call of Duty, no matter what it is, but they get 100% of the profits from Battle.net. So that probably is the reason why they're encouraging you to get the Battle.net version and not the Steam one, but they still want to re-release COD on Steam so that it boosts the player count and could obviously also increase bundle sales. And that'll hopefully be healthy for the player base and healthy people out there that want to play on Steam and not Battle.net. But in terms of the Vault Edition, things are not looking good. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on all these updates regarding Modern Warfare 2? How are you feeling about the major updates on all game modes, the Steam version, and more? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.